On the day I booked my first solo trip, my hands shook with both fear and joy. I wanted to see Europe with a backpack, a map, and an open heart. I was tired of waiting for friends to have time and money. I told myself, I will go now and learn on the way. I watched videos, read blogs, and made a simple plan. I would fly to Lisbon, take trains, and follow the sun east. My parents worried, but they smiled. They knew I needed this journey to grow. I packed light and promised to trust strangers kindly. The plane landed in Lisbon just before sunset, and orange light touched the tiled roofs. I walked out of the airport, found the metro, and followed signs like a child reading a new book. The hostel was on a steep street near a small bakery. The owner greeted me with a soft smile and warm pastel de nata. My dorm bed had clean sheets and a curtain for privacy. That night, I met travelers from Brazil, Korea, and Poland. We traded names, stories, and tips. I fell asleep with hope inside my chest. The city hummed outside like a song. In the morning, I joined a free walking tour. Our guide had a clear voice and bright eyes. She told us about sailors, earthquakes, and songs of fado. We climbed many steps and looked over the river. I learned to say obrigada and to drink strong coffee slowly. Later, I lost my way in Alfama. My phone battery died, and the streets turned like a maze. I felt alone and small. A kind old man pointed to the tram stop and walked with me until I smiled again. That night, I charged my phone and wrote careful notes before sleep. In the next days, I took a night bus to Madrid. The station was bright and noisy, and I hugged my backpack close. A woman from Chile sat beside me, and we shared crackers and stories. The bus rocked like a boat, and I slept in small pieces. Before dawn, we crossed wide fields. In Madrid, I found another hostel near a market. I tasted olives, tortilla, and sweet oranges. I learned to keep copies of my tickets and to smile when asking for help. A street musician played guitar, and families clapped and danced together under the calm stars. I wanted to move north, so I booked a train to Bordeaux. The ride felt smooth, and vineyards rolled past the window like green waves. At the hostel, I met two sisters from Canada and a shy student from Italy. We cooked pasta in the shared kitchen and talked about cheap museums. In the morning, I found that my towel was gone. I almost cried, then I laughed. It was only a towel. I bought a new one at a corner shop and learned to check the drying rack twice. Small problems teach patience and keep the journey light always. Paris called to me, and I went by a slow train with many stops. When I saw the river and the tall tower, my mouth opened in awe. I could not buy every ticket, so I chose a few things. I watched street artists, walked along bridges, and climbed to a free viewpoint. In a small cafe, I ordered in French with my simple words. The waiter was kind and helped me. I felt brave. At night, I sat by the water and wrote in my journal while the city glowed. Loneliness softened when I shared smiles with strangers nearby. I crossed into Belgium and then to the Netherlands, where bikes moved like rivers. I rented a used bicycle and rode beside quiet canals. The air smelled of bread and rain. In the hostel laundry room, I finally washed everything and felt new again. A traveler from Japan showed me how to fold clothes into tiny squares. We laughed when a sock fell behind the machine. I began to enjoy the small routines of the road. They gave rhythm to the days and kept my mind calm. At night, we played cards and shared tea in the kitchen before sleep. A train brought me to Germany, where I almost missed my stop. I was reading, and the station came fast. I jumped up, but my backpack strap caught on the armrest. A conductor saw me and helped me free it with calm hands. In Berlin, I walked along the wall and read messages of hope and pain. I felt history in my bones. That evening, I joined a hostel dinner and learned to say Prost before drinking. Later, I sat by a window and wrote a letter to myself. I promised to be patient and gentle during hard days ahead. I rode east to Prague, a city of stone bridges and golden light. My bunkmate, a cheerful nurse from Ireland, said the river looked like a mirror in early morning. We woke before sunrise and walked to the old bridge. The sky turned pink and bells rang across the water. I felt lucky to be there. Later, a man tried to distract me with a map. I kept my hand on my pocket and moved away. My heart beat fast, but my wallet stayed safe. That night, we cooked soup and watched lightning flash over distant hills from our windows. From there, I went to the mountains of Austria. I wanted to hike and see high snow, even in summer. The trail began gently, then rose into cold air and clouds. My legs shook, and I wondered if I was strong enough. A small hut appeared, and the owner waved me inside. He gave me hot tea and pointed to a safer path. We spoke with smiles and simple words. I followed his advice and reached a blue lake. The view felt like a gift I had earned. Courage grew slowly, like a tree in thin air above the valley. I crossed south into Italy and reached Venice by a crowded train. The city rose from water like a dream, and boats replaced cars. I bought a ferry pass, then a sudden storm soaked the streets. My pass slipped from my wet pocket and was gone. I stood there, cold and angry, but then I breathed slowly. I dried my clothes and bought a new pass. The rain stopped, and the city shone. I rode along narrow canals and watched gentle waves kiss old stones. A violinist played nearby, and children danced with shiny umbrellas, while parents laughed with relief. I traveled on to Slovenia and Croatia, moving slowly and choosing days of rest. In Ljubljana, I read by a river and shared plums with a friendly couple. On a quiet beach in Zadar, I swam at sunset and felt held by the sea. My final train crossed fields of sunflowers toward the airport. I looked through old tickets and smiled at the names of new friends. I had worried about danger, but mostly I found kindness. I learned to plan, to adapt, and to listen. I also learned to rest, to forgive mistakes, and to celebrate small, brave steps.